I've had quite a few requests recently to give more information about the grow tent and the lights I'm using and some of the other stuff that I use, so I thought I'd just do a video on it and answer some of those questions. The grow tent that I'm using is a VivoSun 4x4 by 80 inch. It's pretty tall. As you can see, the lights hang from these little hangers. Some lights come with the hangers, some you can buy separately. This particular tent is vented for a fan that you can install later if you want. I don't have the fan, and having a fan is a good idea because it will help circulate the air and keep you from getting edema. I always end up with a little edema on my plants. I can show you right now what it looks like. Sometimes it'll look kind of like powdery stuff on the top of the leaves, and sometimes, I can't find it, here's some right here. And sometimes on the underside of the leaves it'll look like little bumps. That's edema, and it's partly caused by poor air circulation and partly caused by uneven watering, but having air circulation will help. These are the two lights that I'm using. I had the fluorescent light. It's a VivoSun 2-foot fluorescent light. It uses T5 bulbs. I had that already when I got the grow tent, so I hung it up first, and then I wanted to supplement that, so I got this Mars Hydro TS1000W. It's a full spectrum LED light. If I had it to do over, and I still might at some point, I would just get the next size up on the Hydro LED light, because this LED light has a 3-foot by 3-foot footprint, and it doesn't quite cover the entire tent. And the next size up, which is a TSW2000, it would cover the entire bottom of the grow tent with light. The fluorescent light, I bought it in February of 2021, so I've been using it for quite a while. It works well. I'm happy with it. And the Mars Hydro also works well. I'm happy with it, but they make kind of an odd combination. Here's some of the peppers that we're growing right now. I've been moving peppers in and out as they mature, and I harvest the peppers. Then I save the seeds and move those peppers out and move new seedlings in. I've got some younger plants here. But most of these that you're seeing, the larger plants, will be going out soon because they're starting to get mature peppers on them, and I'll be able to harvest those, and I'll be replacing those and planting some of the peppers that will be going outdoors very soon, in the next week or two. I've already got some seedlings planted. The Chinese peppers, I've got them planted, and they haven't sprouted quite yet. There are a few more things I should mention about the lights. LED lights can be very bright, especially compared to the fluorescents, and it can actually be kind of hurt your eyes if you're around them very long and you have a bunch of lights and a bunch of plants. So if you're going to be around LED lights very much, it's a good idea to wear the protective glasses. These particular glasses were made by VivoSun. And another thing you can do is, while you're working around your plants, this Mars Hydro light has a dimmer switch on the back. You can dim those lights way down while you're working with your plants, and then brighten them back up when you're going out of the room. And then this fluorescent light has two switches in the back. There are four T5 bulbs on this light, and one switch operates the two inner bulbs and the other switch operates the two outer bulbs. So you can have just two bulbs at a time on, either the inner or the outer, and you can have all four bulbs on at once like I do. But overall, this setup, even though it's kind of an odd match, it works pretty well for me. Like I mentioned before, it would probably be better if I just went with the next size up on the Mars Hydro. It would cover the entire tent, and I could just have one light. That's going to be something I consider doing in the future, I think. Now I'll talk a little bit about some of the pots that I use and some of the trays. These trays are a little bit more durable than some that you'll find in the big box stores. I found these at Menards last year. I don't know if they'll be selling them this year or not, but that's where I got those. I can't remember exactly what they cost, but I bought about 15 of them or so, I believe. And I've used some of these multiple times and they're still going. So you can use them multiple times, unlike some of those really thin ones. Same way with the 3.5-inch pots. I bought a case of 60 of those. I think they were made by McConkey. And all of the things that I'm talking about now, I'll put links down in the description if you want to check out the exact things that I got. You can do that if you want. And I'll put links to the lights and the pots and all that stuff. But the 3.5-inch pots, I got some of those from McConkey, and I think another one was June Fox, but they were just a little bit smaller. You can see the difference in the height. The June Fox were a little bit smaller and in height and in width. But they both work just fine. And once I'm ready to transplant out of these smaller pots, I go to a half-gallon pot, and here's a look at the half-gallon pot. I got two different types. Well, here's the other type right here. I think this is, if I remember right, Topo Grow. It makes that pot. And even though they're both listed at 1/2 gallon, one is just a little bit larger than the other. But the thing I like about these half-gallon pots is you can fit 8 of them in one of these 10 by 20 trays, and they fit really nicely. On this grow tent, it also has a nice little couple of pockets up here. I've got some, these are sticky traps for fungus gnats. I did a real good job of not having fungus gnats all fall, but somehow or another around first part of January I started getting a few, and the next thing you know they multiply like crazy. The sticky traps aren't a good solution. It's not, you can't really get rid of the fungus gnats, but it does help keep them under control a little bit. The sticky traps come in different shapes, like this one looks like a tulip, some of them look like butterflies, trees, different things. But I do think they come in handy not only for knocking down some of the numbers on your fungus gnats, but if you don't have them yet, it's not a bad idea to keep a couple of the sticky traps up, just so you can know right away when you start getting them. The grow tent I bought in November of 2021, I've been using it ever since. And what I really like about this grow tent is ever since I got interested in breeding peppers, I can keep this grow tent up all year long, even during the winter, and I can knock out a couple of generations per year, sometimes more than that. So it comes in real handy for trying to stabilize peppers and get them to where they're ready to share with folks. Of course, you can always share the F1s, F2s, and all of that, but they can kind of go in a lot of different directions. In here right now I have, well, you can see some peppers have these little markers. That means I've crossed that pepper with something else, and I'm waiting for that pepper to mature so I can save the seeds. When those seeds are planted, they'll grow an F1 hybrid. And then after the F1s, you get the F2 hybrids. This is an F2. I have one that's about shot here. I need to harvest a few peppers and move it out. But that's an F3. And then I think I have maybe an F4 or 2 in here, but most of these are F1s in the back there. Also at the very top of this grow tent, you have these crossbars, and that's what you use to hang your lights and fans and anything like that. I wouldn't put a huge amount of weight on these. I don't know how strong they are. I don't know what amount of weight they would hold, but I wouldn't try to overdo it. There's a kind of look at the framework of the grow tent. It's got a window on the side. You can open that up if you want. It's got one on this side. You can open that up if you want. And the front here goes from ceiling to floor just about. And it has a little window here you can open up and view if you want to keep that closed, like so. I hope this video has been helpful to people who have been wondering about some of the stuff that I use to grow things indoors. Not only do I grow the peppers indoors, but very soon I'll be planting tomato seeds, some eggplant seeds, and some other stuff that we start early. The tomatoes, I'll be planting those sometime next month. And eggplants a little earlier than the tomatoes. And peppers a little earlier than the eggplants. If you're just now finding this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.